Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, with a quick watercolor tutorial for you. Now this was attempt one and I wasn't really thrilled with it. I thought the colors were a little too heavy, but anyway, I wanted to do a quick orchid watercolor sketch, and I will be offering a more in-depth orchid watercolor tutorial in my shop this week, hopefully. So first thing I'm going to do is just do a little sketching, and I'm going to grab some brown and just put in a branch here for my orchids, and then maybe one kind of up a little bit higher so I can have a couple buds on it. Then I'm going to grab my pink and I'm going to sketch out, I think I'm going to put an orchid kind of just a little off center down here. I'm going to start with this petal in the back, and they kind of got a little dent on the top, and then I'm going to do this this petal on the side almost looks like a ginkgo leaf, and it's again get that little notch on the side. I think if you get this shape right, then your flower's going to look like an orchid. I didn't have the shape quite exactly right on the other attempt, so that's why I'm doing it again. Notch that and scoop it around. We've got these two little kind of crescent shapes that are in the center of the flower, and it's also got kind of like this another little petal that comes down like that, and then you've got two small petals on either side, kind of the same way like a pansy or a violet has. Now I think I'm going to add some hanging buds. My sister grows orchids. She does such a good job with them. I don't have the skill that she does with growing stuff. She's like, oh, you just put a couple ice cubes in the pot and they will just bloom and bloom. Yeah, right. Put a couple ice cubes in a pot. That just doesn't work. I don't know, I think they just commit suicide when they realize that I'm the one taking care of them. I can keep sea monkeys alive for 3 years, and chickens and dogs and cats, and children, but give me a plant and it's like, you know, it's just cruel to give me a plant. I'm going to put one more orchid over here because this guy's looking a little lonely. Again, I'm going to draw it the exact same way. Start with this petal up here. I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to fit it in here. I think I will. They're going to be awfully close. They're going to be awfully cozy orchids in this picture. Again, we get the two petals on the side look kind of like ginkgo leaves. They have a very unique shape, orchids, and if you don't have the definition on the petals, it's going to look like a pansy or a violet. So hey, if it looks like a pansy or a violet, just tell people you painted a pansy or a violet, and nobody has to know. These two little crescent shapes in the middle, and then we've got that little, those almost like a tongue hanging down in front. Alright, so there we have our basic shapes drawn, so we can add some colors. And what I'm doing here is I'm using these, I've had these forever. They were, I think, free gift with purchase once when I bought some watercolor paper many years ago, and I never really used them that much. But and they're Aquatone. I have Aquatone by Derwent, and I have Create a Color by actually they're Create a Color brand Aqua Monolith, and they're basically full stick pigment watercolor pencils. And since I've been like really resisting the urge to buy the Inktense blocks, which I think resistance is futile, but I'm just saying, trying to use what I have and be responsible and frugal and not just kind of jump on the bandwagon. Even though I have some Christmas money and I really want the Inktense blocks, but I'm trying to, you know, I think it's also good to, when you're kind of eyeballing something new, to use what you have and see how that, you know, see how that works before you go and buy more stuff that you may or may not use. Adding a little yellow in the center here, and I'm going to put a little green on some parts of my branch, but I am going to be doing a trick here that I'll be picking up the pigment from the stick of pigment, picking up the way with words. It's Sunday morning. I don't think I even had that much coffee. Alright, so, and I get kind of mellow when I paint. I'm not exactly sure why. Alright, so I want to add some shading on this petal on the bottom. I like to get my dark colors in first. I know a lot of people like to darken watercolor, but the reason I like to get my darks in first is because I feel once I have that dark value there, I feel a lot more comfortable with everything else. I like to have the darks in. It's like, okay, there, it's there, I've defined it now. That's kind of like the scariest part, and that's the part where you think I'm going to really screw it up. So you get that out of the way, and I feel like you are, you're a little more braver with the rest of your painting. And then if you, in the value, the shading I think is also the easiest part to mess up. So if you mess up at the beginning, then, oh well, it's just a piece of paper. If you mess up at the end, then it's like, oh man, I just spent an hour on this darn thing and I just messed it up. So that's kind of why I like to get my values in first. And then it also helps me define. Sometimes I can't really tell what I've drawn when I have it really sketchy like that. And now I'm just going to wet my brush, and I'm going to liquefy the other pigment that I've put in there and let them blend together. And you can see they readily blend right out. Sometimes I like to keep a little edge of white between the petals just to help define them. I don't have very much pink on there. I think I might grab a little bit off the stick there. Radiant Orchid is actually the color, Pantone's color of the year, so you're going to be seeing it a lot in fashion and home decor and everything. So, so that's one of the other reasons I chose to paint an orchid today, it being the start of 2014. So I'm kind of wondering, I do notice that once these the purple dries, you can see that that was the Aqua Monolith by, I'm sorry, the Aquatone from Derwent. It does seem to be almost permanent there, so I'm wondering how similar they are to the Inktense blocks anyway. So I'm like, if they're almost the same thing, then maybe I won't splurge. But then again, I only got 12 colors of this, and I really want the 72 colors of the Inktense. It's awful, I know. That would be my Christmas present to myself with my Christmas money. Oh well. I certainly can't complain that I have not enough supplies. Alright. I don't know if they make these anymore. Actually, I haven't, I got these so long ago, I'm not sure if they're still a current product. Usually art supplies stay current a lot longer than like craft supplies. Alright, now for the centers there, I want to have them a little more red, so I'm actually going to use this. This is the Create a Color Aqua Monolith, and this seems to be a harder stick of, like they feel firmer, harder than the Aquatone, which feels a lot softer. I'm going to kind of go in there and lift up my color, just kind of paint in those crescent shapes, and that little shape underneath, and also kind of define the center of my flower a little bit. Just like so. And I think I want a little bit more purple in that because I don't want it to turn orange if it comes in contact with the pink. Oops, I didn't get any paper towels over here either. That's alright, I'll let that flow in there. I like the way the color looks when it flows too, so I might just wet a few of those and let the color flow because I like the look of that. I also want a little bit of a shadow in there, so I think I'll use my green, because I think when the green and the purple mix, they're going to get a nice grayish brown, so I want to add that nice natural shadow rather than grabbing a black or a gray. If you make your own shadows, you end up with a much more natural look. And with some of the shadow color, I can do some of the bottom of the branches. And if I get a hard, weird edge, I just wet my brush, squeeze off the excess water with my fingers, and just go right around that hard edge and soften it right up. Okay, I'm going to take some of this brown, the color right on here, and just go in and paint my branch. Oh, we're not even at 10 minutes. We're doing really good. We're cooking with gas. I like to have a very organic, sketchy look to my paintings, especially just my card sketches. So, you know, if you wanted more detail, you could take a little more time and put more detail in. I just prefer to have it a little bit more earthy and organic looking. And I want a little more color in there, thinking that's a little blah, so yeah, I actually might add a little purple into there. And I'm not going to fret about any any color that gets speckled on there, because I like speckles. But if you don't, just make sure you're away from your, when you go like that, make sure you're away from your paper so you don't speckle on it. But I like it, so you do whatever you like, because it's your painting. And I think I'm going to add a little bit of green in there to those branches. I like a lot of color in my shadows. I like the way they mix. I like to see, I think that's what makes watercolor special, is that you can see. Now I don't have a scraper end on any of these brushes. I'm just going to grab the stylus that I still have on my desk from the printmaking tutorial yesterday, and I'm just going to add some details onto the buds. And I feel like I'll need a little bit of shadow on the stems. I think I'm going to go in with a little bit of that purple. And I'm liking this a lot more than the my first attempt, which I thought was just too heavy, and it didn't really feel, it didn't capture the essence of the flowers. I wanted to have a much lighter, casual look to them. Alright, and now I will redefine anything I want in here. Gosh, I'm just so mellow. I think I need to go get a cup of coffee. My husband's out jump starting my car right now. I haven't even attempted to go anywhere this week. Maybe I'll have to take a little spin down to Dunkin' Donuts and get a coffee. Probably should. Alrighty. And I think I think I'll probably just kind of leave it like this. Maybe a little definition on some of the petals, but I really like to just keep it easy breezy for these watercolor sketches. You know, accentuate a little bit here and there, but don't overwork it, because once you overwork it, you really just, you lose that freshness. And I think this would be a really pretty card to drop in the mail to my sister or my mom, because they're very into gardening, and my sister's favorite color is purple, I think. She seems to wear a lot of it. I think we'll call that good. Let me turn it around right side up. Look at it. Let me look at it right side up. You've been looking at it right side up. I think it's all right. I'm gonna. I do want to speckle on a little bit of color, because I think that adds kind of a nice freshness. And I know that's not for everybody. Some people really just cringe at that step and they don't care for it. Then don't do it. You really don't have to. Just because you see me do it doesn't mean that it's the thing for you. And maybe a little yellow just to cheer it up a little bit. I like to do this step looking at it right set up, because I can really tell where I need it. I want to add a little bit more yellow in the center anyway. Yeah, I'm going to sign my name. I think I'll do that. I think I'll do that in the green. I just initial my watercolor cards. And I got to do 14 now, because it's 2014. Can you believe it? Crazy. I do want to add a little bit of definition there. It's kind of like a little V shape, the center there. And there you have it. It's a orchid in watercolor pencils. You could of course do this in traditional watercolors, or whatever you have, even watercolor markers, and just blend it with a wet brush on watercolor paper. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then please like it. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. That's awesome. And subscribe, tell your friends, share it on Pinterest or Facebook or wherever you like to share your crafty goodness. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.